everyone, thanks again for tuning into Sin's Workshop. Hope you're all having a wonderful day. So today we're going to be talking about Mexican Gothic by Silvia Moreno Garcia. I loved her book, Gods of Jade and Shadow, so much that I had that book for free. It was a gift from the publisher. It was a digital ARC, but I needed to have a physical copy. My feelings extend to this one. When I was reading this book, I was drawn in from the atmosphere. Right from the beginning, I was getting like Crimson Peak vibes, American Gothic, the original American Gothic, not the remake that they just did. The original 1990s American Gothic. I was getting a lot of creepy, those eerie vibes that you generally like when you're reading horror. I am very picky about my horror fiction, which is why I don't really read a lot of it, because I'm super picky about what I pick up, unless someone recommends it to me. When I'm browsing that aisle at the bookstore, because I work at a bookstore now, so I do a lot of browsing when I'm reshelving books. Oh God, it's great. I'm very particular, but it's very Gothic as well. Like, this is something that I think my Gothic lit professor, Professor Orem at Emerson College, I think he would really appreciate that. I'm saying that name so that anyone who's watching this, any Emersonian and any alum staff, will tell him, if he hasn't already. I'm sure he's already read Mexican Gothic. That it's a really, really good book. It's definitely got that Gothic vibe, that Gothic atmosphere that you expect when you're reading not just horror, but Gothic lit. And you don't really see a lot of Gothic lit nowadays, or what would be construed as Gothic lit. It's a very niche kind of genre when it comes to horror. And I think that's why I'm so picky, because that's generally what I like to gravitate to. I do like, that's probably why I kept thinking of Crimson Peak when I was reading this. There's something wrong. Right from the beginning, you know that there's something wrong. And I'll say this, the beginning itself is very different from the rest of the story. That first chapter is really just establishing Nomi. I know Mexican, but for some reason I feel like I'm mispronouncing her first name, and I'm like ashamed at myself. But you're seeing Nomi through a male lens. And I think it works in favor of the story, because even though she's our main protagonist, even though we're following her for the rest of the story later on, you're seeing how society kind of perceives her as a woman, and not just a debutante in the 1950s, especially in Mexico. And she lives in Mexico City. She has, a semi-wealthy father who expects her to raise high, and she wants to do more than just be a bride. She wants to, and she says it, she wants to do something great in her life. So right now she's studying anthropology, and she wants to go to university in order to continue her studies of anthropology. And I really think that's commendable about her. And I really will say this about Garcia's work. She is really good at, and this goes for Jades of God and Shadow as well, which is why I'm pointing it out, she's really good at making her female characters step apart from societal gender and societal stereotypes and gender stereotypes and racial stereotypes. She's very unpredictable as far as a woman goes. She's very strong-willed, her tone, her attitude. She's willing to play nice, but she's really thoughtful. She's really contemplative. She's quite genius, actually. And that's what I do like about Garcia's writing, that she writes formidable female characters with such little detail. My mother always says, and I agree with her, a great writer can impose so much with very little, you know? What would take a mediocre writer, 20 words to say in a sentence, it would take a good writer to say in like 5 or less. And I've always striven myself to kind of do that in my own writing, and I think that that's what Garcia does in Mexican Gothic and in Gods of Jade and Shadow. She's really good at saying a lot with very little. She's just such an imposing writer that you're getting that sense of eeriness, that eeriness, that creepiness, that unsettling feeling when you're reading the story. And then when the weird and paranormal start to happen to Nomi, you're just like, okay, then time to run for the hills, girl. Grab your cousin and get out. Because she was sent, her cousin Catalina, she sent her a note that sounded insane. And so her father sent her like, go. If you go, check on Catalina, make sure she's okay. I'll make sure you can go to university. And she's like, okay, I'll do it. Even though she would have done it anyway because she loves her cousin Catalina. She's just like, all right, I'll take the bribe as well. I just love Nomi. I really do think she's a really strong, formidable character as far as the storytelling goes. And you want her to just kind of grab her cousin and leave. Sorry. So I think that that's really key. Her writing is really key in enjoying her storytelling because she's concise and she packs a punch. In being concise, she just makes sure that she's getting her message across to you and she's luring you in and sucking you into this haunted house called High Place. It's in the mountain, watching over the village. No one in the village goes there. Like, it's cursed. Run away, Mita, run away. So that's kind of how they are. And a lot of bad things have happened at this house. A lot of bad things. And when you get to the end, when they're not even the end, when that revelation comes forth, you're just like, what the heck? You're just like jaw dropping, sucked in. You're like, okay, how is she gonna get out of this now? Like, how is Nomi going to survive this and help her cousin survive? So you're just, I couldn't put it down. I couldn't put it down anyway, but once I had that revelation, I'm like, okay, I need to read this. I need to see what's going to happen next. I need to go. I need to read this. I need to. So it was just very well done. I will say that. It was just executed effortlessly. I thought everything about it was spectacular. And again, if you like Gothic lit, if you like horror, the horror genre, I really do think you're going to appreciate Mexican Gothic because it's such a great story. If you were a fan of Crimson Peak, if you were a fan of the original American Gothic, I think you're going to really appreciate this because there aren't tropes either, It's straight, it stays away from being cliche and tropey. You're enjoying the atmosphere and you're enjoying that storytelling and you're just like sucked in from beginning to end. And I do think that that's what really makes the story so good. So I have to give Mexican Gothic, I have to give it 5 stars. I have to. It was just, this is a good book. And I have to say, I really do like her writing as well. I do think she's a spectacular writer. Sylvia Moreno Garcia. I think she's a spectacular writer. So I highly recommend much of her work in general, but especially this one, Mexican Gothic. Now, if you want to go ahead and support the author, please leave a review once you read it. I recommend purchasing it from your local bookseller or online book retailer. All I ask is that you support your bookstores in your neighborhood or online book retailers. Just don't buy from Amazon. That's all I ask. If money's tight, please check out the book from your local library. They're there for you, and if your library is still closed, you can get a digital library card and you rent out ebooks and audiobooks from them as well. And I think a lot of them are still offering curbside pickup if they're still not letting people inside, the libraries. But the best way you can support the author is not just by reading the book, but by sharing how you felt about it and leaving reviews. On that note, I hope you all continue to support me by liking this video and subscribing to my channel. You can also become a supporter or buy me a coffee, or by purchasing one of my handmade candles. There are links in the description below. Hope you all have a great rest of your day, and as always, happy reading.